Let's bring my friend Tone in.
Big Sales, how we feeling, sir?
Hey, man. What's wrong with you?
Hey, listen, man.
Man up here.
I got most of my angst out on Monday before I left, man. I
You
wish
did.
I could came on the
You
show.
did. Tone, you've been critical. I heard you today too. You were. I'll take that back.
Yeah. I got most of it out on Monday. And today I felt like I was more optimistic than anything because, I had I unplugged from sports over the past couple of days because, for obvious reasons that we talked about. And I had an opportunity to really just sit with it for a while. And with a fresh perspective, with a fresh mind, so far in the 6-game stretch, they're 3-1. You beat the Cowboys, you beat the Chiefs, you beat the Bills, you get throttled, you got blitzed by the 49ers, right? So in the grand scheme of things, it's hard for me to hit the eject button on this Philadelphia Eagles team. Was that game ugly? Yes. Was that loss ugly? Yes. Was it embarrassing? Yes. Like, did we have to wear that? Yes. Was it a scarlet letter? Yes. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not completely out on this team. Well, I'm not out on the offense. The defense, I have a lot of reservations about the defense side of the ball. But overall, I feel like I have a responsibility at this point in the week. It's Thursday. I have a responsibility to put that to bed, be optimistic about the Eagles going forward, and look forward to the Cowboys because that's the matchup that I'm really excited about.
Tone, how about this? Eagle defense is the worst defense in the National Football League on sacks on third down. Last year, they were dominant on third down.
Yeah.
They're the worst on third down efficiency. Teams are completing 50% of the footballs against them. Poor corner play. I mean, dude, this is not just a 5-week deal. This is an entire year thing here that this thing has gone on here. I mean, this is who they are. I mean, Leonard's going to be an upgrade, but I don't know. I mean, again, I was
saying that earlier.
I think it's getting worse.
I was saying earlier that the thing is, I personally believe at this point, they're putting entirely too much pressure on that front four. They're going into every week telling that front four, you have to win. Not only do we want you to get to the quarterback, you got to win and defend the run every single week because the back end is so embarrassing. And when you put that stipulation on that front four, when you put that kind of pressure on the group, they're going to wear down at some point. It's the natural progression of things. A pass rush can't last an entire game. You got to take advantage of the opportunities they get you. The run defense is something that wears down little by little. It's something you do all the time, right? With quarterbacks, you always do. Eventually, it starts to leak through and you break. And I think what we're seeing, especially over the past 3 weeks, we're seeing this run defense break, and that was the only thing that they can hang their hat on. Now that you can't stop the run right now, because look, we can talk about them stopping the run over the first part of the season. That's done with now. We have to focus on who they are these past 3 weeks. That's the trend. The trend is they're giving up over 160 yards rushing over the past 3 weeks. Do I see that changing? I don't know. I have a hard time believing it will. This defense, will they improve? I have a hard time believing that. The only thing I can really expect is improved execution. But will the talent get better? No, that's not going to change. Will they get healthier? Not necessarily, unless they get that bye week. So the defense is really in the tough spot right now. And go ahead.
Here's what. Don't you think there's a coincidence here that once you started seeing Milton Williams and Fletcher Cox going in and out of the rotation because of nuance injuries,
concussion,
and that rotation started to get
like that,
it started putting more reps on Davis and Carter to play, and you're all of a sudden starting to see. And I'm going to tell you something: the fundamental thing that they do wrong in Philly. I talked to Jimmy Johnson and Dave Wannstedt and Butch Davis, the guys who won those 3 Super Bowls in Dallas. You know what they said? As the season progressed, they went harder in practicing run defense. And do you want to know what they did a year previous? They thought, as the season went on, they thought lightening up the load. Do you know their yards per against rush went up with less practice than it did with more practice going forward? They used to go hard. Now, here's the deal. You had 25-year-old guys doing that.
Right.
Okay? They were the youngest team in the league when they were winning Super Bowls. You can't have a whole shitload of 30-some-odd-year-old guys in there. And you got to either really old or you got really young on defense right now. Your entire secondary is in their 30s.
Yeah.
Your backup, dude, I think Fletcher's a really
You
good
know what's so
player.
crazy? You know what's so crazy? Fletch actually, out of all those guys, Fletch played the best.
Dude,
And he didn't
think
practice all week.
Fletcher Cox the last 2 years has really played well, man.
Yeah, he didn't practice all week, and obviously he was nursing, dealing with the hamstring, so they wanted to make sure he rested. But he seemed like out of all the DTs, he had the deepest reservoir of energy. You know what I mean? He got sacks. He was aggressive. So, and the thing is, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, there's gonna come a point in the career where they need to get comfortable playing north of 65% of the snaps. They got to get comfortable doing that. At this point,
that is a history in the league that once you get to 12 and 13 and you haven't played the amount of reps that you play because there's only 53 guys, that's just something that's a tradition in the league.
Yeah. Fletch is right now averaging, if I'm not mistaken, let me make sure I got this number right, but right now Fletch is averaging north of 70% of the snaps played or on the season. So, yeah. Fletcher Cox is really, he's out there.
But he's nicked up.
But it took him a period to get. Actually, let's really find out, because the fact of the matter is, Fletch, he's always been on the field. It's rare he's not all. It's rare he's off the field. So for his career, right, the snap counts, Fletcher Cox.
What were his first couple of years?
Okay. So right now his snap count is actually below 70. It was above 70, but I think because he missed time because of the injury. But nonetheless,
33 years old, you're at 68%. That's a freaking lot.
Yeah, 66% right now in his in this year in the NFL. But his rookie year, he played 52%. That's normal for a rookie. You kind of halfway in, halfway out. Then the following season in 2013, this is season number 2. His second season, 74% of the snaps. His third season, 80% of the snaps. His fourth season, 81% of the snaps.
That's when he was killing people, though, too.
His fifth season, 76% of the snaps. The 17th season, 67% of the snaps. He missed a couple games, but 67% of the snaps. 2018, the follow-up season, the all-pro year, 80% of the snaps. 2019, 78%. 2020, 72%. 2021, 70%. 2022, 65%. 2023, 66%.
He's played a lot of football.
He's played a lot of football, and he's been mainly healthy for the most part. I mean, outside of, I could do the math, but it'll take me too long. The bottom line is this guy has missed in his entire career. He's probably missed less than 10 games.
How many years has he been in? 11?
He's been in the league like 11 seasons. He got drafted in 2012.
Do me a favor. Look at Jordan Davis's play count last year versus this year.
Oh, Jordan Davis is skyrocketed. I can tell you that right now. Give me 1 second.
Okay, and think about this. Remember the rotations that they had at Georgia? Mm-hmm. This is probably the most ball he's ever played in his life.
Absolutely. So Jordan Davis in year 1, he was averaging 26% of the snaps. He played, well, not averaging. He played 26% of the defensive snaps in 2022. He played in 13 games, started in 5 of them. In 2023, through 12 games played, 12 games started, because he started every single game, which I'm happy about. In 2023, he's played 45% of the snaps. He's already eclipsed his total snap count. Yeah, he basically doubled it. Listen, I put it in perspective like this. In 2022, through 13 games played, 224 total snaps played, right? In 2023, through 12 games played, 362 snaps played, and he still has 5 games left.
Damn. Dude, that's why that run defense is getting worn down. You're getting guys playing football they've never played, and the volume of plays that they've never played, and with the rotation being affected with Milton Williams.
An injury, yeah.
And last year, this is what you had. Think about, you had Hardgrave, Davis, Sue, Linville, and Fletcher. Those guys were pretty healthy.
You had a whole stable. You had a whole stable of guys. Now
you had guys going in and out of that rotation, and there was not really a drop. Now, look, they were 16th, but you know what's happening here? Because you have young and old and guys playing higher volume, that's why that run defense is coming. Are they still really dominant run defenders? Yes, but you know what's happening? War of attrition's wearing on them.
Let me ask you this, right? Because you play DT, and you know what it's like to develop a guy at that position. A guy like Jordan Davis, yes, right now he's at 45% of the defensive snaps. is that something that can be improved as his career develops, right? As he gets
348.
used to the reps. You know what I mean? Like as he gets
348.
used to the reps. Or you talking about weight?
Yep. Let me say something to you. 56% of the plays say he's 340. Okay. 340-pound guy doing 56, almost 60% of the plays. That's a lot, dude. Vince Wilfork didn't play that many plays. They took his ass off the field all the time because they wanted to go third down with their third down package in New England. Dude, that's a lot of football for. Remember, when you're a big dude like that and you're playing that kind of volume of numbers of plays. Okay, so let me get this right. He plays 6 of every 10 plays that is in a series. Out of every 100 plays, he plays 6 or 50, about 5.5. Okay, right. That's a lot, dude. That's a lot of football for a big man like that.
Now Carter is at through 11 games played because I think he missed the game. So through 11 games played, he missed the Jets game, right? The Jets game. So through 11 games played, he's accumulated 408 total snaps on defense, which is 55% of the defensive snaps.
Wow.
Which is kind of on par with what Fletcher Cox did his rookie year.
I guarantee you that 400 snaps is more than he's played in the last 3 years of his entire career.
Listen to this. Fletcher Cox in his rookie year played 509 snaps. Jalen Carter's already at 408. He's going to pass that.
I would say this to you. That Jalen Carter's probably played more football in these 12 games than he's played, like I said, in the last 4 years of his entire career at Georgia.
Yeah, because in Georgia, they rotate those guys.
They rotate them. And get this, 26 of the 29 wins that they had were by blowout. You think Jalen Carter's playing in the third and fourth quarter? Or are you playing them younger guys so that those younger guys don't have to go into the portal?
And they were so deep.
That's part of it too.
Yep. That's actually why that one kid left. The kid that left Georgia, he went to FSU. What was his name? He plays for the Jets now. You know what I'm talking about? Is it the Jets or who does he play for?
The end?
He's a DN. He was at Georgia. He left to play at FSU.
He wasn't getting enough in the rotation.
He wasn't getting enough in the rotation.
That's right.
And he got drafted pretty high. I forget his name.
I forget his name too. But that's you're playing guys.
Johnson. Is it Johnson? Something Johnson. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the chat.
That's part of
Jermaine Johnson or Jermaine Johnson.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Prince. Jermaine Johnson. Yep. Jermaine Johnson. That's exactly correct. Jermaine Johnson became an all ACC guy going to Florida State.
He killed at FSU. But yeah, the bottom line is this defense. They're so reliant on that front four. Now the front four is starting to break, and you're expecting Shaq Lawson or Shaq Leonard to come in. You're expecting Shaq Leonard to come in and kind of just turn everything around. It's kind of unrealistic. I think it's important for us to curb our expectations, and this defense is going to have to somehow, improve execution and tread water. And the funny thing about it all is, in the offseason, we knew this was going to happen. We knew the defense was going to be the weakest link.
We thought it'd get better, though.
But we didn't expect it to be this bad at this point. We thought it would get better.
You know why? Tone, you know why? You know why it didn't get better? The poor miscalculation at linebacker with Dean.
It was a miscalculation. You're right. It was. That was a miscalculation.
Every guy on the roster right now that's going to play on Sunday has been waived.
At linebacker, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
There's not one homegrown. And get this, here's all you need to know about the position. You had a guy starting against the Niners 3 days ago. Now you cut him. How do you go from being a starter to being cut and you're on the road? That's all you need to know about the front office. Now, I'm going to tell you something here. You weren't here yesterday.
Right.
And this is something that, I got to give you a little credit here because you kept going like this. Sills. And I started thinking about it. You went, Brian Johnson, man, don't it seem to be he's a better coordinator in the second half of games than he is in the first half of games? I kind of brushed it off, but then I said, and I asked Frank Reich yesterday on the air, And as you know, look here's just so you know, Frank texts me, and I
Right.
love him to death. I've known him 40 years. And this is what he said about how the Eagles operate. As a general rule, the Eagles and the analytics department gives the coaches the analytical information. Then the coaches break the analytical information down and put the actual game plan. And then what we'll do is we'll come together and we'll talk about it and move forward on who's active and who's not. I said this to Seth. He almost fell off his chair. And here's my problem. It just all makes sense. It now makes sense on why they do things off the ball, who's active. Kenneth Gainwell must be an analytical favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Scott's not to them. It's just, you see, they've taken the ARP. You know what the analytical guys are probably saying about Hurts running RPOs? There's more of a chance of Hurts getting injured in an RPO than there is us continuing to run it. So we're going to take that completely out of the game.
You're cutting your nose despite your face.
You're having people who aren't coaches dictate the play of the game or the direction of the game. It's a loaded deck again. It's like the coaches that are being picked off the sheet.
Do you think it's an accident that this entire coaching staff got younger since Doug left? Do you think do you think it's happenstance?
Nope.
Listen, Doug Peterson, Frank Wright, Jim Schwartz, they were all OGs in the game. They all been in this league for a long time, right? They decided to cut ties with all those old heads, bring in a bunch of young hot shots, so to speak, right? And Shane Steichen,
guys who would push back on the analytics department.
They got rid of guys that would push back on the analytics, right? And give Shane Steichen his credit. He's great. We see that now, right?
Yeah.
We see that. But as far as Brian Johnson, Sean Desai, Nick Sirianni, all these guys, they brought in guys that's not going to rock the boat. And to your point, you said something earlier in the show. It's starting to become a trend in the NFL.
No, this isn't an Eagle problem.
No, yeah, I'm realizing that myself too. It's a league-wide issue that they're
Stefanski. But see, here's the difference though. When you have coaches that have autonomy on their staffs, like McVay and Shanahan, they have more say in the direction of the analytics that they're given. Mm-hmm. So that's why it looks. You said something. I think I heard you say this on Monday when you were doing Sports Take. Why did San Francisco's passing lanes look so wide open?
Yes.
And ours don't.
Yes.
Because we're running it by the numbers. Kyle's running it by a feel. Okay, he realized that Kittle couldn't be covered. Went there. Do you know what the analytics department in Philly's saying? You should run this play on first down, 1st and 4. You should run this play on 3rd and 7. That's why when Hurts walks over to the sidelines, Tone, and rolls his freaking eyes, he's like, you know what? He's not in a feel of the game. He's not playing shitty, but he just doesn't have the feel of the game.
There's no rhythm.
The coordinators don't.
You know what's so interesting? I'm so glad you brought that point up that I mentioned, because I mentioned this on Monday as well. My favorite play throughout the entire game that the Niners ran, and they ran some great plays, right? Especially the Debos and all that kind of stuff. But
that George Kittle play was awesome.
My favorite play was the George Kittle play.
Oh, me too.
George Kittle motioned from the left side of the field to the right, and in the midst of the motion, when they hiked it, he chipped Hassan Reddick. When he chipped Hassan, that knocked Hassan off his path. Hassan couldn't beat the right tackle at that point.
He was trailing.
He chipped him, and then he bounced, and then he leaked out. And all of a sudden, he's wide open down the
25 yards down the field. What else was in that play? When he went in motion, he knew that there wasn't over-the-top help because they were going to stay in zone.
Yeah.
And when he clipped
and
them,
they sent everybody else
wide open.
They sent everybody else to the other side of the field. It was so clear. All you saw was the linebackers just break their necks. That was my favorite play of the game for the Niners, because it was deception. It was execution. They set it up. They set it up, and the entire time the Eagles defense just seemed like they were up like 2 plays behind every single time. And I'm concerned about this defense in the long term because the road only gets tougher. You get in the playoffs, man, all these teams are going to be hitting you with everything in the kitchen sink. I'm genuinely concerned about the defense. Genuinely.
Only game I'm concerned about Seattle because of the wideouts they have up there.
Yeah, and Debo took
This
it
Dallas
this last
game,
time.
dude, you take care of business. Here, remember this, Tone. Dallas is counting on. What would you say that the Eagles played a C+ game against Dallas? C+ game?
It was, you know what's so crazy? It was trending towards like A-, B+, but that fourth quarter took it all the way down.
Okay,
so
C+ B- if you want to go there. Okay,
I'll say they played a B- game.
Okay. Do you know what the Cowboys are hoping you do? Play a D+ game for you to win because they played an A+ game.
They play, and that's the difference.
Okay, so the Cowboys get your fucking minds right again. Go in there, take care of business. What is it? 2011 last time you guys swept? Go in there and get them. You're better. You're not going to face. Hey, here's the beautiful thing. Very few teams are constructed like the Niners are. The Niners are constructed like the Patriots were back in the day. Why? Because the quarterback makes no money.
There's no
so
team.
They can do all that shit.
There's no team built like the Niners. There's no
team.
Got a
900,000. Dude, Nicholas Morrow makes more.
Like, it's a reason why. Like, they've had the fortune of failing in the first round with Trey Lance and not having to pay him at any point. And you know they fall into.
And if they land on Purdy, they save themselves.
And they save themselves with that, and they're not paying him any money, which gives them so much flexibility. They can pay anybody anything they want, and they can. It's almost like they're playing fantasy football. Like they're going cheap at quarterback, and they're just loading up everywhere else.
Well, that's gonna. Hey, you're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to pay the rent soon.
He's gonna get paid soon because he lit us the hell up.
Hey, how about this though, Tone? You see why the difference in the playoff here? Look, there's two teams over in the NFC. The rest of them, Lions, Cowboys. Okay, I don't know. Falcons, Vikings, and Packers.
I said that earlier.
I could beat those teams with Marcus Mariota.
Yep. I said that
but
earlier.
But over on the AFC side, you got every big-time money guy over there. And that's why there's no complete teams in the AFC.
And you know what's so crazy about the AFC as well? A handful of those big-time quarterbacks got hurt. And it's crazy, man.
Oh, and it's just devastated their team.
Yeah, exactly. It's devastating. They can't tread water. You know, in the NFC, I think the better teams are in the NFC. The better quarterbacks are in the AFC.
The better rosters.
The better rosters. Yeah, let's put it that way. Yeah, the better constructed rosters. You know, I said something earlier when I was talking to Rob. I said, honestly, I think the two best teams in the NFL, Niners, Eagles, and then you can debate everybody else. Ravens. You know what I mean? Actually, I'll take it this far. As much as I hate the Cowboys, I think the top three teams in the NFL are NFC teams.
You think the Cowboys can beat the Ravens?
I think they can. I'm not.
Do you trust them?
I don't trust them, but I think they can beat the Ravens, and they're not going to see the Ravens unless they get to like a Super Bowl or something, which won't happen. So, it's just. I don't trust the Cowboys, but in the regular season, like this is what they do. They do everything they want in the regular season. They beat up on bad teams, and then they get to when it matters most. And now they're forced to play real football for all four quarters, and they really can't do it. You know, they beat the Seahawks, and I want to give them some level of respect for that, because even though I think the Seahawks are leaking oil badly, and I think the Seahawks are trending down, they still technically beat a team with a winning record.
Cowboys credit for taking care of business.
I have to, because I keep saying this is why, because I keep saying they haven't beat a team with a winning record. And at the time, the Seahawks had a winning record. So I don't want to move the goalposts. I guess I don't want to be unfair.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that Seahawks team ends up with a winning record on the season?
I actually think the Seahawks missed the playoffs.
Okay. So they're actually then not a 500 team.
I'm with you. I'm following you, but at the time, no, I'm with you. I'm with you, but at the time, I just want to.
I don't think they're that good.
I hear you. I'm trying to be as objective as I can, because I know how I normally talk about the Cowboys.
When it comes to Dallas and Philly, I am not objective because the Eagles are better.
I think they are better. I think they are better.
Act like it.
Oh, I believe that. Trust me, I believe that. But again, like I just want to acknowledge what I'm seeing, you know. And the fact of the matter is, they did what they were supposed to do against the Seahawks. I gotta give them some respect to that extent. But other than that, I think this is where their real schedule starts. Eagles, Dolphins, Bills, all those guys. That's where the real schedule starts. And I honestly don't think they're going to do well. I don't.
I think they could beat you guys and lose 2 or 3.
Yeah, I actually think I think the Dolphins get them, and I think the Bills get them.
Okay, yeah.
If I'm being honest,
right. I think Dallas could lose, dude. I think Dallas could lose any game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do think the Eagles are better though. I think they're just a better.
Do you think the Eagles are going to drop a game against the Giants?
Yeah. Hell no.
Dude, they're good. I would think the University of Lehigh has more of a shot at beating Philly than the New York Giants.
I just realized what you said. The University of Lehigh. That is hilarious. But no, as far as this game on Sunday, no, the Cowboys are food. They're being put on the platter this weekend. And I'm looking forward to this matchup because I'm trying to sweep them. I want to put them out their misery. They lose this game, kiss the number 1 seed and the division goodbye.
Don't go on the 3-game losing streak if you beat them.
We will send them. We will send them in down a spiral.
Send them in. You know that sub that got smashed like a tin can. That's the Cowboy season. It'll be like that submarine that got smashed from them dummies going down there in some sort of like tin can, 50,000 feet.
Oh my God, you're talking about the.
Are you crazy, dude? Even the guy Josh from like Expedition X goes, I don't think so. He goes, dude, that thing will look like that submarine that got crushed. That Cowboy pride.
You said something interesting earlier, right? You said, listen, like Eagles fans, get the hell up.
Yeah, man.
Listen. No. And this is what I'm talking about, right? Losses happen. And sometimes you get your ass beat.
Ass kickings happen.
It happens. But the fact of the matter is, did we really think they were going undefeated through the 6-game stretch? No, we didn't think that. They were going to lose somewhere. I had them going because originally, remember, we were talking about it from the 5-game sample size, right? So I said 3. I said 3 and 2. You said 4 and 1. But now we're expanding it to the 6th game because the Cowboys game came prior to the bye, and that's when it really started. So I'm expanding to 6 games now. So right now, I had them going 4 and 2, right? And so far, they're 3 and 1 through the stretch. I think they're on schedule. So I'm not gonna panic, and I'm damn sure not gonna panic against the Cowboys. I'm damn sure not gonna panic then. I want to kill them. See, I want to make them cry.
See, Yale says something here. Yale goes, how will they respond? Yale, how did they respond after they got beaten in the Super Bowl? They're 10-2. So you mean to tell me you think all of a sudden the Eagles are going to have some sort of like witchcraft done on them where they're going to just go into something that they don't already have a mindset? Okay, what do you think is worse, losing a game with San Francisco like that or losing a Super Bowl the way they did? Dude, they got off the mat against the Super Bowl, getting off the mat against the Niners. Like somebody said something earlier, Tone, yesterday. You weren't on with us, and they go like this. Well, Sills, the Eagles justified or they validated and they, got back at Kansas City. I go, no, you didn't.
No, we didn't.
Regular season win versus a Super Bowl?
No,
you
we didn't.
did not. All you did was keep your season going on a good pitch. Mm-hmm. That's not validating anything. Yeah. That's a stupid take.
Yeah, you said something earlier that was pretty spot on as well. The fact of the matter is, like, yeah, they lost the game, but the reality is that's not defining their season.
No,
there's so much. It was
a moment in the season.
It was a moment, and also you spoke on how Eagles fans. You guys think the players are still harping about it? They've already turned the page. So why should we harp about it? And you bring up a very good point. I was talking to Rob earlier about it, and pretty much we were saying, like, he said, isn't it funny how the Niners game is still lingering? And I was like, yeah, it is, but it's about time we turn the page. And tomorrow we're going balls to the wall Cowboys. Like we shouldn't be talking about this at this point.
Oh, just in the nick of time, Tone.
So just in the nick of time, right?
Wait a minute. And I am going to say that to you
because technically for me, it's only been 2 days.
No, that's true. That's true.
For me, it's only been 2 days.
Okay. Yes, sir. But I will say this. I think it's because the fan base has such a I mean, look, the guy sitting at the NovaCare Center, run the ball. I mean, dude, there's so much civic pride in the joint. There's so much all that. And when the fan base gets humbled,
It's a religion.
the
It's a
fan base,
religion.
the team didn't get humbled. The fan base did.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Mm-hmm.
You mean we're not as good as what? No, you're just not good today. Don't carry it over. Like, every time somebody, here's a great point on the 10-2 thing. 10-2? A 9-3 team is better than a 10-2 team. What does that mean now? Nothing. You're in it. There's two things records mean: division title, home field. Other than that, on a week-to-week basis, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Me and Rob were talking about this, and literally I said, all the Niners really proved was that they whooped our ass that day. That day. Now
I saw PJ Walker beat him.
Right, exactly. So it's like, the fact of the matter is, there's so much football left to play, and they didn't win. All they did was beat us that day.
Did Josh Dobbs beat him?
I don't think so. Josh Dobbs beat Dallas. He beat Dallas with the Cardinals. With the Cardinals.
Oh, wait a minute. This gets better. Arizona beat the Cowboys. The Niners beat them up, and Josh Dobbs beat the Cowboys. Great. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So, look, the Niners, they didn't, just how the Eagles didn't redeem anything beating the Chiefs, the Niners didn't redeem anything beating us the way they did. Maybe it helps their ego, but other than that, it doesn't do anything in the grand scheme of things, because I think it's going to be these two teams meeting again in the NFC Championship. The fact of the matter is, where is it going to be? Is it going to be in Philly, or is it going to be in Santa Clara? We're going to find out.
Yeah, don't drop that game against Baltimore.
Yeah, they better not.
Okay.
They better not.
Hey, I want to go back to something here. Okay, so what's your take on what I told you now, that the front office has exactly what you thought about with Doug Peterson and all that? Why, like Seth said yesterday, he kicked the can down the road, that the analytical department is so knee-deep in the personnel, who plays, the plays, the direction of the offense, to some extent, the play calling. How do you build a game plan? How do you know if Brian Johnson and Sean Desai are good coordinators when they're given the information? It's like this, Tone. Instead of cooking your own soup with your own recipe,
to give you ingredients,
I've got to cook the soup with your recipe.
Yeah, your recipe.
Maybe I don't think that recipe will make that thing taste as good as I think, which means this: you really don't have a feel for what you're cooking. Because you're cooking with somebody else's pot and pans.
Yep.
And you're cooking it with their recipe.
Yep. Their recipe, their pot and pans, their kitchen. And then when they taste it, they're judging you based off of something that you had almost no control over.
And how come it doesn't taste like we thought it would taste? Well, because your information, in our opinion, this is where Doug pushed back, because the information you gave us. Now you know why he's answering questions. I see, LJ. Now we're doing this, Tone. Now we know why on Mondays Doug Peterson's answering questions on a 17-14 Atlanta win, because the analytics guys are going, why didn't we run this? Why didn't we do this? We gave you the information on this. Well, we thought this would be better. And I'll say this to you. You think Philly is an analytical play?
Hell no. That whole Super Bowl was nothing but feel. I rewatched it too many times.
That Super Bowl win, Howie loves it, because they were his guys and he can claim that. But you know what he probably hated? Doug was the reason with Frank and Schwartz that they pushed that bitch across the finish line, and they used their information, but they also used their gut to win that game. They don't. Here, let me go back to one of my topic sentence here that I opened the show. Do you think it's more important for Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman to have complete control of the organization, or to win a Lombardi trophy?
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't revisit this question again. because the whole time when you asked that question, I'm literally sitting here like in front of my computer screen, like, damn, I don't have an answer for that. or maybe I do, but I don't want to say it. I'll put it to you that way. I think I do have an answer for it, but I don't want to admit it.
Yeah, and but wait, let's do it league-wide. Because again, I did preface it by saying I don't think this is an Eagle thing.
Okay.
I think we're seeing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What's this? How about that? Oh, wait, so I'm giving you an off ramp. Okay. Hey, I'm feeling good for you, Tone. So I'm going to give you an off ramp here. Okay.
Hey, listen, I
One of the
appreciate
very
you.
few times
I've had a rough week. Thank you.
I know you have. So I'm giving you an off ramp here. Okay. But there is something to this. Don't you see? There's none of those old hat coaches.
Hell no.
That are
Think
in the
about it.
game. They're
Frank
driving them out.
Frank got fired like that. Like that. Think about it. They have no tolerance for these old, for these old head coaches, OGs. They have no
push back on that analytic stuff.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if, and I don't know this for a fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Frank wanted to do things one way, but the analytics guys were pushing another thing. Because you know what they tried to do? They tried to sit there and frame Frank as if he didn't want to do what was best for he didn't want to do what was best for the quarterback. I don't believe that.
I'll tell you what.
I don't believe that.
I'll tell you what he told me and how Nick got the job. This is why. Hey, Tone.
I do not believe Frank got a fair shot in I don't think he got a fair shot in
David
Indy.
Tepper and
he didn't get a fair shot in Carolina. I do not believe.
I go David Tepper and Jim Irsay. I go, you worked for the two of the worst guys. You know what he did say though? I got 20 million out of it. I'm all right. I went, okay, hey. I'm going to bed. Good night. Okay.
Hey, man.
But here's what he did to Nick. And this is what he told Shane. This is what he told all those guys, Gannon and them. If you want to work here, you go along and you work within the system and you work with the intel. It's not about, and you know what, Tone? They've had so much success to a point. But to me, how many Super Bowls do you think you've left on the table in the last 30 years? 3?
Dude, I'll take it further than that. We should have beat Tampa Bay and we should have beat Carolina. So because is people argue
minimum 2.
I'll say minimum 3.
Okay.
Minimum 3.
So you should have 4 Super Bowls right now.
I say we should have 4, like 4 or 5. Honestly. And since 2000, we should have at least 5. We should have 5.
And the most improbable one was 17.
Out of all of them, that was the most improbable.
And 22 and 23 are better squads.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Well, then there has to be something in it. Now here, Frank goes like this to Nick. Nick, you want that job? This is how you interview. He went in and interviewed and said, I work with the analytics department. It's what I do. I put boutique offenses together. He did, but he's more of a Phillip Rivers 7-step drop guy. That's why Nick didn't fit into the RPO. That's why it looks more like you said, the 2-5 offense. Okay, that doesn't look.
The only difference is you have better talent, so you hide it a little better. But the fact of the matter is,
Jalen's going to hide it.
We see it. See, that's the thing. It is the 2-5 offense, low key. The only difference is Jalen's gotten better.
Jalen's better.
And you have more talent around them.
Yeah.
So therefore, you can hide it a little better. They can make up for it a little bit, but it only gets you but so far. We're going to see it at some point. It's going to leak out at some point.
How would you like to have your front office come to your coaching staff and say, we want you not to run the RPOs. We want you to protect the quarterback. And we're taking those. Dude, I said this to people too. I go,
he didn't get paid doing what you're asking him to do now. He got
how
paid.
About this, Tone? Would you agree that 49er defense last year looked slow?
They looked
because
slower.
Jalen was freezing the backers.
What? Riddle me this.
How about this year? They looked like they were running with their hair on fire.
Yes. Why do people pay you, and then as soon as they give you the money, they want to change you? You paid me because of you. You paid me because I'm A, but now you want to turn me to Z.
Let me tell you, youngster, you got a way to go.
help me understand this.
Because here's why. Here's why, Tone. Do you think the Eagles would rather have complete control of you, or would they rather win a Super Bowl?
Hey, listen, man. I know what I would want. I know what I would want.
Now, folks.
I know what I would want. But all jokes aside,
wait a minute. What
if I had to choose,
organizations want to control? This is why Jim Harbaugh's never be an NFL head coach unless
you know what? I'm going to actually say they would much rather have control. You want to know why? because I look at Jerry Jones, and he would much rather have control
and win a Super Bowl
than be successful.
That's right.
But he doesn't even realize it.
And get this, we see it because we saw a guy with the control of the football side win him 3. And then once he grabbed control and he'd rather have control than win the Lombardi, he hasn't been successful since that group left the building. Don't you think there's a coincidence to that? He'd rather have total autonomy than win a Super Bowl.
It's a bad way to go, man.
This is where Kraft was brilliant because Kraft sat back. And you know what his job was? He was a mediator between Brady, because Brady didn't have that equity until probably year 11 when it came to Belichick. And all of a sudden, when that Garoppolo thing came up, you know, Kraft stepped in and said, we're moving Garoppolo. We're not moving Brady. They won 3 more. And he was right. But I always thought Bill had an ass with that. But you know what? Kraft was right. Why? Because he saw that they weren't putting enough people back in the cupboard and how the organization wasn't retooling. But they still had Brady in the building. Once Brady left, Belichick's on an island. All the things Kraft thought during that whole Garoppolo, he knows it now and he sees it. He stepped in. That's why that relationship lasted 21 years. You see, this is why I brought up the other day, and I didn't even know until Frank told me all this shit. Look at how many Super Bowls you guys have sacrificed firing Doug. You've probably sacrificed one for sure this 10 months ago. I mean, to get the control back, they had to sabotage the team.
I will always be a Doug guy.
But am I off base here? What I'm saying?
You know, I think.
Correct me if you think I'm wrong. I'll take it.
No, I look at it like this, right? I think Doug and Howie's relationship was souring fast, and
why?
Because of the relationship souring, it started to affect the way things were getting done on the field. Well, the bottom line is, you know, Doug and Howie looked at the game entirely 2 different ways: the analytics versus the instinct. You know, Doug wanted
you're
more.
Saying Nick and Howie look at the game the same.
I'm saying Nick is going along to get along, like you always say. He's going along to get along.
That doesn't make him a bad coach, folks. I'm not saying
no.
That,
yeah, see, here's the thing, right?
Too.
I don't think Nick is a bad coach by any stretch of the imagination. No. I think
he's expendable, though.
I think he's expendable. I think he's expendable, and Howie has constructed it that way. That any coach that comes in here is expendable. I'll tell people. I've been saying this right over the past couple of weeks. I said, listen, Nick, the leash is getting shorter and shorter. He's in year 3. You made it to the playoffs the first year. You made it to the Super Bowl the second year. The third year, you better win it, because if you don't, tick 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 tick. The clock is going.
Let me know now to having Howie held accountable. Let's do this. What would be the grade you give the replacement of linebackers this year? Retooling.
Right. Well, you might as well say replace, because they completely replaced them all.
Okay, replaced.
Yeah, you might as well say replace. Yeah, they completely flipped the script on that. Nonetheless, though, I have to give it a C minus. I have to give it a C minus, because I'm looking at these guys, and overall, they're so reliant. And I've talked to John McMullen about this, right? And he's always brought me down to earth with this. I've always said, well, you know, Nick Morrow, you know, he's having a pretty solid season, all this kind of stuff. And he's like, look, as long as that front four is doing their job, he's going to look as good as he's going to look. The moment that front four slips in the slightest, you'll see how good he really is. And we saw that in the San Fran game. So, and then Zach Cunningham was playing well up until he got hurt. But overall, you've replaced a guy who knew your system, who was the healthiest linebacker you had in a long time. TJ Edwards did miss games,
and he's on pace for 470 tackles in the last 3 years.
It's insane. And you only had to pay him $6 million.
And get this: the money that you've paid for all the people that you've brought in would total of 6.5. You could have just kept them.
And you
could have moved Dean out to Will.
Yeah, to Will. Yeah, wherever you off ball, wherever you want to put him.
Yeah,
you know, but like That's what I thought the plan was going to be. Re-sign TJ for another 2 years or something. Give him, I don't know, 15 million or whatever you want to do. And then at that point, you groom Dean slowly but surely. I thought that was a foolproof plan, in my opinion. It seemed almost, you know what? It seemed too easy. And that's probably why I didn't get done.
Did they miscalculate on the corners?
They overestimate. Oh, the corners. Oh, yes. They overestimated Darius Slay and James Bradbury at this point in their careers. James Bradbury and Darius Slay, they're not having good years. They're just not. That's the fact of the matter. Is Slay having a slightly better year? Sure, but I mean, what's an inch? You feel what I'm saying? So, like, he miscalculated this defense, and I think they knew overall this defense would take a step back, and he definitely tried to go cheap in certain spots without a shadow of a doubt. But he's going to have a hard offseason because what are you going to do at both your corner spots? What are you going to do with Avonte Maddox? What are you going to do with Kevin Byard?
Yes.
What are you going to do with the running back? He's going to have a really hard offseason. I'm telling you.
Well, I'm going to say this to you too. Do you think they've replaced? Hey, do you think they've replaced Hargrave? And before you answer, Hargrave's on pace for 11 sacks, like he did a year ago.
Right.
He kicked the shit out of Jason Kelsey on Sunday. He killed him. He held that offense to 46 yards rushing. Him and they were running off tackle more. They were running off tackle more with Trent.
I can't say I fully agree with that because.
Oh, wait a minute now. I do think they've upgraded. Okay, because you don't have to pay 20. Okay, he's on a rookie deal. There's more. I do think they've upgraded there in the long run, but in the short term, tell you what, man, Javon Hargrave looked really good on Sunday.
See, I'm not ready to jump out the window and say he looked great on Sunday. And here's why. When I watched that game, I paid attention to how much time Jalen Hurts had, and Jalen Hurts had a lifetime in the pocket. He had a lifetime. He averaged almost 4 seconds worth of time in the pocket on that Sunday.
11 throws.
And missed and didn't pull the trigger at all. And then on top of that, I can't really say, oh, they stopped the run when you've only ran it. What was it? 9 times with your running backs? Six. I'm sorry, 6. You ran it 6 times with your running backs. They didn't run it. So you didn't run it, and Jalen Hurts had a lifetime to pass, and he didn't let the ball go. 2 of those sacks he got. Did he have sacks that day? I'm never sure. But 2 of the sacks the team got were because Jalen Hurts took forever to throw the ball. They passed. Nick Bosa was almost a non-factor in that game.
He got killed.
Lane Johnson kept him in check.
Yeah,
Jordan Mailata did a good job with Chase Young. I don't think that D-line did anything spectacular against the Philadelphia Eagles O-line. I actually felt like the Philadelphia Eagles had their best pass blocking game of the season.
Okay.
But because Jalen Hurts held the ball for so damn long, it made their job that much harder, and it also eliminated the work they did. The whole time I'm saying to myself, my wife doesn't watch League of football. Listen, my wife doesn't watch any football really. She only watches when I watch. And she's saying to herself, she said she's at Tone. Shouldn't he have been got rid of the ball by now? Like, she doesn't watch football at all. She's like, damn, like he has a lot of time back there. The offensive line, in my opinion, I thought the offensive line was really good.
I'll say this to you. This is the problem when you have analytic guys that should be over at Parkway Central Library, instead of having them give you game plan information. You didn't run the ball because you didn't want Hurts hurt?
They're not doing a good enough job getting him in rhythm right now. They're not.
Dude, that RPO not being in the game is the reason that offense doesn't look as smooth.
It's hurting him. It's hurting him. It's a part of his skill set, and you're literally telling him to play football with his arm time behind his back. It's a part of his skill set. It doesn't make him a lesser quarterback.
It made him the most dangerous guy in the league.
And now you're trying to turn him into something he's not too soon. Like, it's not like he's in year 8 and you're trying to
turn him into Dak.
They're trying to turn him into Russell Wilson now. And like, my thing is, do you know how long it took Russell Wilson to get here?
How was Russell Wilson, do you think, after them 3 years in the league when they started doing all that bullshit and they took beast mode out of the backfield?
He wasn't the same.
When beast mode left, Seattle was never the same, right?
He was never the same. So my thing is, I don't know why they're cutting their noses right their face with Jalen Hurts.
50 million reasons.
Yeah, that's a good point. $50 million.
Remember what Boomer said? Remember, Boomer goes like this. Hurts has got to learn how to play
with the
with
money.
the salary. I
Play
think
with the
the
money.
Eagles, as an organization, have to learn how to coach Jalen with the payroll.
Mm-hmm. Why sign a guy to that big of a contract if his game, if he got the contract based off of the one thing and now you're trying to turn him into something else? It makes no sense to me. Again,
If you bought a Ferrari, would you take it out once a year?
if I bought a Ferrari, am I going to all of a sudden put off-road? Am I all of a sudden going to put off-road tires on it? Hell no. That's stupid. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? That's
I'm going
stupid.
to turn this bitch into a boat.
It's stupid. You know what I mean?
Hey,
so,
I got a Ferrari, but let's turn it into a tractor. I need to go out. And,
exactly.
like,
It's weird. It's weird, man. But overall, like I don't want to get too far away from the Cowboys. The fact of the matter is, this is the game. This is the game that I'm really looking forward to, and I think this is a game the Philadelphia Eagles should win. I don't care about that whole they don't lose at home. I don't care about none of that shit. I think the Eagles win this game. I don't have a score for you yet. We're going to say that for tomorrow. But
we'll do it tomorrow. I got to get out of here, Tom. I appreciate it, man. Welcome back.
Definitely, man. I appreciate
it. Thank you, my friend. Remember, wait a minute now.
I got you.
Do they want it? Do they want to have control, or do they want to win?
They want control. They want control. And on that note,
it's evident on Sundays. Got you, man. Appreciate it. Guys, I got to tell you, though, I think that's a lot of teams. Okay? Hey, don't forget, we're going to be at King of Prussia this weekend from 3:30 to 4:30. 5:30, excuse me, 3:30 to 5:30. Coming out, we got Eagle tickets for the Christmas Day game. We got a bunch of merchandise, too. I can't wait to see some of you guys out there. We look forward to it. I'm going to talk to Jason Cole in a couple minutes, but I also want to hit on something that Tone hit on a little bit. How he does have a lot of work this offseason. I'll explain. We'll do that next. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Football and Hooters, the perfect pair.